Welcome to our channel, Culinary Couture. Here on this channel, we will take you on a journey through the world of food. In today's episode, we are going to talk about lobster, to be precise, two different kinds of lobster. The lobster with scissors and the lobster without scissors, also called spiny or rock lobster. So let's dive into the deep waters and discover more about this delicacy enjoyed all over the world. Clawed lobsters. Clawed lobsters are malacostracans of the family Nephropidae, or its synonym Homaridae. They have long bodies with muscular tails and live in crevices or burrows on the seafloor. 3 of their 5 pairs of legs have claws, including the first pair, which are usually much larger than the others. Highly prized as seafood, lobsters are economically important and are often one of the most profitable commodities in the coastal areas they populate. Commercially important species include 2 species of humerus from the northern Atlantic Ocean and scampi, which look more like a shrimp or a mini lobster. Clawed lobsters are not closely related to spiny lobsters or slipper lobsters, which have no claws, or chile, or to squat lobsters. The most similar living relatives of clawed lobsters are the reef lobsters and the 3 families of freshwater crayfish. Lobsters are invertebrates with a hard protective exoskeleton. During the shedding process, several species change color. Lobsters have 8 walking legs, the front 3 pairs bear claws, the first of which are larger than the others. The front pincers are also biologically considered legs. Lobsters, like snails and spiders, have blue blood due to the presence of hemocyanin, which contains copper. In contrast, vertebrates and many other animals have red blood from iron-rich hemoglobin. Lobsters possess a green hepatopancreas called the tomale by chefs, which functions as the animal's liver and pancreas. Typically, lobsters are dark-coloured, either bluish-green or greenish-brown to blend in with the ocean floor, but they can be found in many colours. Lobsters live up to an estimated 45 to 50 years in the wild. Although determining age is difficult, it is typically estimated from size and other variables. Newer techniques may lead to more accurate age estimates. Lobsters live in all oceans, on rocky, sandy or muddy bottoms from the shoreline to beyond the edge of the continental shelf. Smaller, younger lobsters are typically found in crevices or in burrows under rocks and do not typically migrate. Larger, older lobsters are more likely to be found in deeper seas, migrating back to shallow waters seasonally. Lobsters are omnivores and typically eat live prey such as fish, mollusks, other crustaceans, worms and some plant life. When a lobster is cooked, its shell's color changes from brown to orange because the heat from cooking breaks down a protein called crustacyanin, which suppresses the orange hue of the chemical astaxanthin, which is also found in the shell. Humans are claimed to have eaten lobster since early history. Large piles of lobster shells near areas populated by fishing communities attest to the crustacean's extreme popularity during this period. Evidence indicates that lobster was being consumed as a regular food product in fishing communities along the shores of Britain, South Africa, Australia and Papua New Guinea years ago. Lobster became a popular mid-range delicacy during the mid to late Roman period. The price of lobster could vary widely due to various factors, but evidence indicates that lobster was regularly transported inland over long distances to meet popular demand. A mosaic found in the ruins of Pompeii suggests that the spiny lobster was of considerable interest to the Roman population during the early imperial period. Lobster was a popular food among the Moche people of Peru between 50 CE and 800 CE. Besides its use as food, lobster shells were also used to create a light pink dye, ornaments and tools. The Viking period saw an increase in lobster and other shellfish consumption among northern Europeans. Lobster is first mentioned in cookbooks during the medieval period. Le Viandier de Taillevent, a French recipe collection written around 1300, suggests that lobster, also called saltwater crayfish, be cooked in wine and water or in the oven, eaten in vinegar. Le Viandier de Taillevent is considered to be one of the first haute cuisine cookbooks, advising on how to cook meals that would have been quite elaborate for the period and making usage of expensive and hard-to-obtain ingredients. The French household guidebook Le Ménagier de Paris published in 1393, includes no less than 5 recipes, including lobster. That lobster was first mentioned in cookbooks during the 1300s and only mentioned in 2 during this century should not be taken as an implication that lobster was not widely consumed before or during this time. Recipe collections were virtually non-existent before the 1300s, and only a handful exist from the medieval period. During the early 1400s, lobster was still a popular dish among the upper classes. During this time, influential households used the variety and variation of species served at feasts to display wealth and prestige. Lobster continued to be eaten as a delicacy and a general staple food among coastal communities until the late 17th century. Throughout this period, lobster was eaten fresh, pickled and salted. From the late 17th century onward, developments in fishing, transportation and cooking technology allowed lobster to more easily make its way inland, and the variety of dishes involving lobster and cooking techniques used with the ingredient expanded. Caught lobsters are graded as new shell, hard shell or old shell, because lobsters that have recently shed their shells are the most delicate. Lobster is commonly served grilled, barbecued, boiled or steamed in the shell. Diners crack the shell with lobster crackers and fish out the meat with lobster picks. The meat is often eaten with melted butter and lemon juice. Lobster is also used in soup, bisque, lobster rolls, capon magro, and dishes such as lobster Newburg and lobster thermidor. Spiny rock lobsters. Spiny lobsters, also known as langustas, langoust or rock lobsters, are a family, Palinuridae, of about 60 species of achelate crustaceans in the Decapoda reptantia. Spiny lobsters are also, especially in Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, South Africa and the Bahamas, called crayfish, sea crayfish or crawfish, creef in South Africa. These terms, though, are elsewhere reserved for freshwater crayfish. Now, although they superficially resemble true lobsters in terms of overall shape and having a hard carapace and exoskeleton, the two groups are not closely related. Spiny lobsters can be easily distinguished from true lobsters by their very long, thick, spiny antennae and by the lack of chellae or claws on the first 4 pairs of walking legs. Although the females of most species do have a small claw on the 5th pair. The size of the adults varies from a few centimetres to 30 to 40 centimetres. In general, it is said that rarely some individuals can reach 60 centimetres. The fossil record of spiny lobsters has been extended by the discovery in 1995 of a 110-million-year-old fossil near El Espinal in Chiapas, Mexico. Workers from the National Autonomous University of Mexico have named the fossil Palinurus palicosi and report that it is closest to members of the genus Palinurus currently living off the coasts of Africa. Spiny lobsters are found in almost all warm seas, including the Caribbean and the Mediterranean Sea, but are particularly common in Australasia, where they are referred to commonly as crayfish or sea crayfish, and in South Africa. Spiny lobsters tend to live in crevices of rocks and coral reefs, only occasionally venturing out at night to seek snails, clams, sea hares, crabs, or sea urchins to eat. They sometimes migrate in very large groups in long files of lobsters across the sea floor. These lines may be more than 50 lobsters long. Spiny lobsters navigate using the smell and taste of natural substances in the water that change in different parts of the ocean. It was recently discovered that spiny lobsters can also navigate by detecting the Earth's magnetic field. Potential predators may be deterred from eating spiny lobsters by a loud screech made by the antennae of the spiny lobsters rubbing against a smooth part of the exoskeleton. Spiny lobsters usually exhibit the social habit of being together. However, recent studies indicate that healthy lobsters move away from infected ones, leaving the diseased lobsters to fend for themselves. Like true lobsters, spiny lobsters are edible and are an economically significant food source. Many spiny lobsters produce rasping sounds to repel predators by rubbing the plectrum at the base of the spiny lobster's antennae against a file. The noise is produced by frictional vibrations, sticking and slipping, similar to rubber materials sliding against hard surfaces. most commonly eaten grilled or from the BBQ with butter and garlic. Have you ever eaten one or both of these lobsters? Which one is your favorite? Thank you for watching our video about the differences between clawed lobsters and spiny rock lobsters. If you'd like to see more videos about the differences between food, let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed our video, don't forget to give us a like and hit that subscribe button to follow our journey through the world of food here at Culinary Couture. Until we meet again.